Welcome everyone to our Google Intern Roundtable. My name is Tara and I'm an Associate Product Marketing Manager intern here at Google on the Google Ads team. I'm excited to be joined by a group of fellow interns to share all about our experiences as interns at Google. Whether you're a prospective intern, a curious student, or just interested in life as an intern at Google, this video is for you. Before we dive into questions, let's introduce our amazing panel of interns.
Hi, I'm Alyssa. I'm an APM intern, so that means Associate Product Management intern, and I'm working on the Google Search team.
Hi, I'm MJ. I'm an APMM intern, which is an Associate Product Marketing Manager intern, and I am on the Nest Hardware team this summer.
Hi, I'm Jess. I'm a User Experience Design intern, and I am on the core team this summer.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. I'm a software engineering intern, and I'm on the Google Wallet team.
Great. Let's start with getting to Google and how you secured your internship. Can you share a bit about your application process and if you participated in any Google programs before your internship?
Yeah, I can go first. So as a non-tech intern, there are a couple sophomore programs that are available, one being Bold Immersion. And the Bold Immersion basically covers all of the business roles. So that's people operations, which is like HR, marketing, sales, as well as finance. And so as a sophomore, you can kind of apply to this early development program in order to see what opportunities there are in business at Google and also see what internships there are for your junior year.
I was also a Google intern the summer before I became an APM intern. I was actually a STEP intern, and that's the Google software program designed for first and second year students. And so that's actually how I figured out that APM was actually a role that I wanted to do. They had an info session at the end of the STEP internship, and they talked about what it was like and like the interview and application process, and that's how I knew I wanted to apply.
Great. Let's move into the interview process. It can sometimes feel daunting, so how did you guys prepare and what was your interview experience like?
I can answer this. I think the biggest part for me being a UX intern was knowing how to present your work. I had 2 interviews and one of them consisted of a portfolio review, so just being ready to talk about your design decisions and have that backed up with research. I think something that's also very helpful is utilizing on-campus resources if you're a student and going to like the Career Center, having as many people as you can review your resume and portfolio so you can get valuable feedback and know that you're showcasing your best self to Google.
Yeah, so for me, I was a STEP intern, so my technical interview was for the STEP internship, and for that, what I did to prepare was have a lot of mock interviews, and then also it was one of the last interviews I did. So having had interviews before that, really practice like getting those nerves really helped me. And I also spoke about a project I did during college that I worked throughout the entire semester. So I feel like I knew that project very thoroughly. And then also for SWE, you do an interview with different teams and just asking like what kind of experience you have. And there's basically like a team matching process. And for that, it's very casual. There's no technical part to it, but it's important to like speak about any experience you had previously. So I spoke about my STEP internship the year prior for this internship.
As a Bold intern, you apply usually in the fall, and you'll be notified by survey about an interview. And so the first round of surveys will be around what position you'd want. So that's like either sales, marketing, people ops, or finance. And then after that, you'll be notified maybe which product area you want to interview for. And so I chose devices and services as the product area that I wanted to interview for. And then in that first round of interviews, they're usually back-to-back, and they're with usually 2 separate product areas of your choosing. And then after that, you'll maybe have a follow-up interview or coffee chat with someone a bit more senior. And when I was preparing for my interviews, I was doing a lot of research on Google's products. I think as a marketer, you'll probably be asked a lot about that in your Google interviews and maybe how you would change some of their products or some of their marketing. So that's really good information to know as well. But also just mocked a lot with my peers at my school, which was super, super helpful, I thought.
So I was a STEP intern in the summer before I was an APM intern. And so at the end of that internship, they actually sent out a form asking for any STEP interns if they wanted to apply to the APM program. And so I just submitted my resume through that. And then I got an email around the fall asking for me to continue in the interview process. And so the interview process was 4 interviews total, and they largely focused on product design questions. There were some questions about product strategy and also like cross-functional collaboration, but mostly product design. And then after those interviews, there was also one written assignment that I had to submit that was focused on product design and strategy.
Amazing. And I know that I personally spent lots of time watching videos from Googlers to prepare for my internship. So it's great that hopefully this video can be that for our viewers. Let's now move into your products and responsibilities this summer. Could you share a high-level overview of your projects this summer and some of the problems you were tasked to solve on your team?
I can answer this. So this summer, I'm on the Google Wallet team. So we're working on the Wallet app. And specifically, my team works on passes, so like any flight tickets or event tickets or loyalty cards for users. And this summer, I'm adding a personalized feature that users can add to their passes. And that involves like creating a design doc, basically outlining everything that I'm going to change, and then also implementing it and testing it all throughout my internship.
I am working on creating internal guidance for Googlers to enhance the accessibility of their products. And that's pretty much all I can say about my current project. But the goal is just to make sure that it's easy for Googlers to make their products accessible.
Yeah, so I'm on the Nest Hardware team, and so my project is basically executing a product marketing strategy for a new product that's coming out, and it's been a really great opportunity because I've gotten to work cross-functionally with a lot of people on the project, so also working with UX, UI, design team, like product management as well, so it's been a really, really great opportunity.
I'm on the food search team, so Google search, but specifically for all queries related to looking for food and restaurants. And specifically for my team, I'm working on improving the menu experience for users when they're looking for restaurants.
Awesome. So many amazing projects you're all working on. Let's now move into some of the challenges and most rewarding parts of your internship.
I can talk about it. A challenge, I guess. A lot of my background is actually not in marketing. So I think the main challenge this summer was just changing my thinking to be more product-led because I've never really worked on like product marketing before. And so throughout the summer, my managers have been super supportive in just kind of crafting that new way of thinking and to be a bit more product-led when I think about marketing strategies.
I think my challenges are also related to yours. I had never had a product management role before, and it's kind of an ambiguous role. So when I showed up, I didn't really know what my roles and responsibilities were, and it was kind of ambiguous. But my host and my team has been incredible support. And I think I've learned a lot about what it takes to be a product manager. And so it's been really rewarding to be able to talk to product managers from different product areas and different teams and really learn about how they view the role and how it may differ from team to team and also person to person.
I think the biggest thing as a designer is to not take critique personally, because you do spend hours and hours working on these designs, and then you receive feedback from a lot of people on your team, and you have to be able to incorporate that. And it makes you grow a lot more as a designer because you realize that your way of thinking is not the only way of thinking, and there's a lot of valuable feedback on the team. But also at the same time, if you feel strongly about a specific design decision, being able to advocate for yourself and defend yourself in those types of situations.
So for me, I would say the most challenging part, especially working on the Wallet app, is that it really encompasses the full cycle of development. So like back end and also front end. And so that took a while for me to learn. Even having like some mobile experience prior, there's things at Google that are done differently just because we're doing things at larger scale for tons of users, and we're implementing them so that we can grow in the future. But I think the most rewarding part about it being full stack is that I get to work with UX designers and product managers. We're constantly keeping in mind users, so I can see like the real impact of the projects that my coworkers work on, the project that I'm working on, and that's incredibly rewarding, knowing that it'll impact millions of users that use the Wallet app.
Awesome. And just curious, what ways have you guys felt empowered as an intern this summer?
I think the biggest advantage of being an intern is that you can always constantly play the intern card, and anyone at Google is willing to talk to you. So one thing that my manager has done, which has been really awesome, was every week she gives me 3 people that she recommends that I go and chat with, whether these are product managers or UX people or UXR. I've really gotten the full view, I think, of the different types of people and roles at Google, and everyone has been more than happy to chat with me. I think one of my favorite moments of the internship so far has been a coffee chat that I actually was able to get with the VP of product of Google Search. And I was surprised that she responded to my email, but it was really cool to hear her talk about her career and just generally learn about her life and her experiences.
For interns as well, there are like employee resource groups that you can join. I'm in OLA, which is for Latin American Googlers. There's women at Google, so anything that you can dream of, there's probably a group for it at Google, which is really nice.
So I think for me, in my experience, and then also hearing from a lot of other interns, is that our projects give us a lot of responsibility. And that although we are interns, it certainly doesn't feel like it in my experience. I really do feel like I'm part of the team, although I've only been here for a few months. And I've sat with other engineers on my team and considered like design considerations, and it felt like my thoughts were considered just like any other engineer on the team. And so that was really empowering.
That's amazing. And what's been the highlight of your guys' summer so far?
So as an APMM intern, we have APMM boot camp that was a couple weeks ago. And so it was super fun because all of the APMM interns got together in the San Francisco office and basically had programming all day for 2 days. But it was so fun because we got to learn so much about like marketing at Google, its diversity initiatives, as well as hear from senior leadership on their experience at Google thus far. So it was really, really great. And we also had a lot of social events as well. So we had a sunset boat cruise on the bay, which was super fun. And then on the second day, they also took us to the beach, which was super fun.
I think the best thing about my summer has definitely been APM Intern Week. So there was an entire week dedicated for APMs, and we had intern planning every day. So it was like every day we had one experience where we got to get together with all the other interns in our cohort and just like do different experiences. Like we went to talks by different VPs, had lunch, and then on Thursday we had an entire day offsite where we went kayaking in Monterey Bay, and then we all went to the Santa Cruz boardwalk, which was really fun.
I would say probably one of the highlights is this is my first time living in San Francisco. So being able to explore a city that I had never really thought about being in ever has probably been one of the highlights. And just meeting so many different people from all around the world has been really like rewarding, and just knowing that like we all worked so hard to be here, and it's been really great.
And finally, what advice would you give to someone in the application process for a Google internship?
I can answer this. I'd say the biggest thing if you're UX focused is to update your portfolio and make it clear what your contributions were to any like projects, and detail like exactly how your design decisions are backed by either research you did or research that a teammate might have done. I think that is the biggest thing for UX related positions.
I think for SWE, specifically for the interview, is to remember that it's more of a collaboration. In my experience, I felt like my interviewer was working with me and problem solving the question. It wasn't really they're testing my knowledge. So just making sure to really speak your thoughts out loud so that they can guide you in the right direction. They're not really there to be like, no, that's not right, and I'm not going to help you. Like they very much guide you and work together with you. And so just remembering that it's also to test, or not test, but to show your communication and collaboration skills. And I think that's just as important as the problem solving aspect to it as well.
Yeah, I would say for the APMM application and for the business programs in general, just tailor your resume to whatever role you're applying to. So whether that be people ops or finance, I think just having those experiences and backgrounds is really important to highlight on your resume. And then also just on your resume, quantifying your results, quantifying your contributions to whatever experience you have on there will also be really, really helpful.
And a last word of advice is just really, really, really practice and prep for your interviews, however you think that may be helpful for you. For me, what that was is I just logged hours on YouTube watching mock interviews with Googlers or just anyone out there doing product management interviews, and I practice. I think I talked to myself in front of my laptop, acting as if I was in an interview for hours, and that really helped me so that it wasn't my first time when I was on the interview problem solving through these kinds of questions.
Thank you all for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
And be sure to check out Google Students on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and X for more information about internships and opportunities at Google. Thank you and good luck.
Good luck.
Bye.